an insurrection at all. But three former Republican elected officials stand out in a party that is otherwise completely submissive to Trump, joining the ranks of those arguing to the Supreme Court that he is disqualified to appear on the ballot because he engaged in insurrection. They are former Massachusetts Governor William Weld, former New Jersey Governor Christine Todd Whitman, and former Montana Governor Mark Roscoe. Weld briefly opposed Trump for the Republican nomination in 2020, while Whitman has criticized the party as being replaced by the cult of Donald Trump. Governor Roscoe's past as head of the Republican National Committee gives him a special insight into the mindset of his party, although their brief makes clear their positions are not about politics. The filing notes that the three governors have been members of the Republican Party for decades. Their objectives in filing this brief are not partisan, but purely patriotic, motivated by their commitment to public service. The governors argue, should Mr. Trump be permitted to stand again for election to the presidency despite his past actions? Neither Section 3 of the 14th Amendment nor the oaths that undergird the bedrock premise that public officials serve to advance the welfare of the people and our common national project will ever be the same. They will have been rendered meaningless in their legal force and stripped of their moral authority and power. They will, in effect, have been written out of our Constitution. And former Governor Mark Roscoe joins me now on the phone. We had a little bit of camera trouble, so thank you for joining us on the phone, Governor. I just wanted to know, just so that people sort of understand where you all come from. All three of you, Governor Whitman, as well as yourself, as well as Governor Weld, former Governor Weld, come from states that have turned power over from one party to the other over the years. In 1989, a Democrat governed your state of Montana. Then in 93, a Republican. You then as a Republican, and then another Republican, and then a Democrat. So the peaceful transfer of power is something you have all engaged in yourselves, at least your parties have. Tell me why you felt compelled to weigh in on this Supreme Court case against Donald Trump, or a Supreme Court case involving Donald Trump.
Well, because it's a serious violation of the Constitution to ignore it. And the fact of the matter is that nobody has a right to run for office. We certainly have a right to vote if we qualify and haven't disabled ourselves from being able to vote, but we don't have a right to run. In order to run, the person that is the candidate has to prove that, in fact, they can meet the qualifications. So you don't get access to the ballot unless you meet the qualifications. The qualifications have been there from the beginning of the Constitution 235 years ago. You have to be more than 30, you have to be 35 years of age, you have to be native born, and you have to have been a resident of the country for the last 14 years. And then there is a fourth requirement that you have to meet in order to be eligible. And that is, you cannot have taken an oath to support the Constitution of the United States and thereafter engage, countenance, incite, or in any other way be involved with an insurrection against the United States of America and against the Constitution. So simply, as you said in your introduction, it cannot be ignored. It can't be waived. It's not an option. This is something that is mandatory. And the burden is on Mr. Trump to prove that, in fact, he meets the qualifications. And there is evidence from two courts, a district court in Colorado and the United States Supreme Court, plus the Secretary of State in the state of Maine, that have all held after a due process hearing that, in fact, Mr. Trump was involved in an insurrection. And as a consequence, he is therefore ineligible to run for president. So we want to see faith be paid to the Constitution. That's the bottom line.
And I'm holding your brief here.